Future Vision, the ARx Vision Headset, presented by Charles Leclercq from ARx Vision on the 25th of May 2023. Future Vision is a series of technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. Future Vision is a collaborative project between 6 local independent sight societies: Sight Advice South Lakes in Cumbria, My Sight Notts in Nottingham, Sight Airedale in the Airedale area of North and West Yorkshire, Support for Sight in Mid and West Essex, Sutton Vision in the London Borough of Sutton, and Outlookers in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire.
Right, good morning, everybody. This is Tim. We're with the Rainbow Group, as you all know, which is a group. This is more for Charles, really. We're a group of small local sight loss organisations around the country, and we hold a Future Vision Zoom once a month. And we have a combination of, sometimes we do something very practical, or sometimes we do the future. And today, Charles, it's you, the future. and Charles is from ARx Vision, and Charles Leclercq, and he is going to explain this quite amazing product, and can I say, Charles, very well priced product to us all. Okay, then off you go, Charles. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim, and thank you for this opportunity to meet with everyone today and talk about ARx. So I'm going to share my screen and share some slides with you. How can you see this?
It's coming. It's starting to come.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Charles Leclercq. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ARx Vision. ARx Vision is a wearable headset that connects to a smartphone and translates the world into audio through the use of AI and computer vision. But before I tell you more about our headset, I want to give you a little bit more context to why we decided to create and manufacture the ARx headset. So I'm not going to get into the details of the impact of vision loss, because I'm sure everyone is very familiar with that here. But I want to focus on one aspect, which is the amount of wonderful apps, mobile apps that are available on Android and iPhone, such as Microsoft Seeing AI, ARxApp, Be My Eyes, Envision, or SuperSense. And these apps are really great because they basically enable users to scan their surroundings and extract information into an audio format to make the world more accessible. But after we spoke with a lot of people in the community, we learned that basically these apps always require the user to hold a smartphone in front of them. And the question we always ask is, okay, so how do you scan a QR code if you don't know that there is a QR code in the first place? How do you scan it if you can't see it? And what we hear from individuals in the community is that in their daily lives, they encounter challenges to go to work, to go to the hospital, to go grocery shopping, and they can use these apps to scan their surroundings, but usually they have to do this in city centers. And on one hand, in one hand, they would be holding their guide dog or a white cane. And in the other hand, they would have their groceries or a bag. And on top of that, they have to hold their smartphones and scan their surroundings in an area that they basically don't know. And so the feeling we heard is a general frustration and general fear of having to do that. And so we discovered that there was a huge need for having access to these apps, but without having to hold your phone in your hands, basically. And so this is why we understood that there was a need for a wearable device. And wearable devices exist. I think we're all familiar with Orcam or the Google glasses or Envision glasses. But the issue they have is that their pricing is often very restrictive because they cost above £2,000. which, it at that kind of price, it fails to help those who need it the most. And most of these wearables are closed systems, which means they actually are not necessarily compatible with the community's favorite apps. And so this means that there is a need for an affordable wearable device that is both compatible and easy to use. And in other words, this is ARx Vision. So this image shows the ARx Vision headset that is connected to an Android smartphone. And so I have the ARx Vision headset here with me. So the headset itself has one camera at the front, 3 tactile buttons, and 2 bone conduction speakers. And it is basically a little bit like the ARxVision headset, except that there is a camera on it. And the way to wear it is to place it behind your head and on top of your ears. And when you connect it to your smartphone, the headset becomes the eyes of your smartphone. So you can put your smartphone in your pocket and interact with it by just pressing one of the 3 buttons here and listening to an AI that will do a couple of things for you. So the ARx headset was designed to be user-centric and has a very user-friendly interface. As I was saying, the fact that what we saw from other devices was that it was always loudspeakers, so everyone could hear what the headset would say. And so that's why we went for bone conduction, which doesn't isolate the hearing. So you can be talking to someone or be walking in the street and listening to announcements, public announcements in a speaker in a train station, and still hear the ARx AI talking to you. The headset is also equipped with tactile buttons, which means that through touch, you can identify which are the buttons you're about to press. We thought that, touchpad surfaces on wearables can be interesting, but they don't give you the confidence you need in the moment. And so tactile is very efficient at this, because just with my finger, I can feel that the button is square, circle, or triangle. And finally, the headset is very lightweight. It's less than 100 grams. So you, at the end of the day, you kind of forget that you are wearing it, and it's not covering your face, which is, we think, an important feature. Finally, the ARx headset currently works with the ARx app. The ARx app is currently only available on Android, but it does all the things you would expect to have from similar applications like Microsoft Seeing AI or Envision AI. So you can, for example, so when you launch the app, you can use the triangle button on the headset to navigate between modes. So it's very easy to switch from one mode to the other. Or you can press the circle button and say, what is in front of me? Or who is in front of me? Or can you read the letter? And the voice AI will basically understand your query and activate the mode that is the most appropriate with what you're trying to achieve in this particular moment. So the modes are scene descriptions. So for example, on this slide, we have an example of someone reading a blackboard in a kitchen, and it's basically saying a sign on the door with text saying ketchup, candles, olive oil, herbal tea. And that's basically the grocery list that's written on the kitchen board. We can also read documents. So we have built a spatializer which will guide the user to place the document and align it with the headset itself. So just through audio cue. So it would say, the document is too close, the document is too far, move it right, move it left. And when it's aligned, then it takes a picture and then reads the document. It can do short text, which is really helpful for if you're walking in the streets and you're looking for a specific door number or a storefront. It will catch all the signs and street names and door numbers. We have object search, where you can select an object from the list, for example, a chair, a bag, or an exit sign, or a table. And when it sees one of the objects, it will play a beep that is spatialized, so that it feels like the sound is coming from the object. So for example, if you're looking for an exit sign and the exit sign is on your right, you will hear it on the right side of the headset, and as you turn your head, you will start hearing it from both sides, left and right, because you will be centered with the target, and then it kind of tells you where is the physical object in your space for you to localize it. And then we have the ability to scan faces. We have an ability to recognize them, as well as expressing emotions through audio. For example, if I scan someone who is smiling, the app will play a sound that expresses the feeling of seeing a smile. So it goes like do-do-do. But if it's someone that looks very sad, it will do the opposite, which is do-do-do. And that's a way for us we call this audio emojis. And it's a way for us to let the blind community appreciate the value of emojis. Sighted people use emojis all the time. And we thought there's a lot of value in making this more accessible as well. But we've also created a training mode because we felt that it was really important for users and community to be able to get better at using ARx. So we have a couple of activities that teach the user how to get better at things. So for example, there's a training mode where you move your hand in front of you and you hear a beep, you hear audio feedback of where the hand is, and that lets you understand the field of view of the camera. And finally, one of the most important things we have done when we first launched back in 2020, 2021, during lockdown, we had to create, because we were not able to onboard people in person, we actually created an interactive onboarding tutorial inspired from video games. So in video games, when you start a new video game, there is always a fun and interactive experience that teaches the user how to jump, if it's a little character, and how to move the character, or how to drive the car, for example. And so we have gotten inspired from the same concept, where the AI teaches the user how to wear the headset, what are the buttons for, and teaches basically the core principles. And we've seen that this is really helpful because it allows people to feel empowered, and it removes the need to actually have to get any kind of teaching and training with an instructor, which makes the device a lot more accessible, basically. So we launched back in 2021 as a beta, and we officially launched as a consumer product last year. And the feedback has been really, really good from the community, but we've also looked at using ARx in different use cases. So of course, in everyday life, at home, going to work, but we've also had an informal pilot with the Moorfields Eye Hospital. And this is one of the nurses who tried the headset, and I will play now a video with the feedback.
When we do visual fields, we have to take the patient to different clinics. So we take them downstairs or 22, 23, but ideally something clearly give them the correct indication of where to go. Yeah, spend time for the tech screen away from the visual fields process. Escorted, like my colleague there is just taking someone else to say.
Yeah.
In the right direction, yeah. So yeah, it's very good.
So here the NHS nurse is explaining, after testing the headset, that basically the headset is able to catch all the texts and the arrows in the hospital, and it's really helpful for people to be able to independently navigate within the hospital. I just want to clarify that we do not have any kind of partnerships with NHS or the Moorfields Eye Hospital, and this is just a friendly pilot we did with them. One really specific aspect of how we develop our product is how we work with our users. And we constantly communicate with blind and visually impaired individuals to understand their challenges in their daily life and build around that. But we then also have integrated analytics within our apps, and so we're able to monitor how people, and then we monitor anonymously how people use our products, and how much time it takes to scan a document, for example. And so we always try to improve those metrics to improve our product. So very early on, I mentioned that most of the wearables that already exist are closed systems, and that one of the ambition of ARx was to be a platform. And so we basically created a software development kit that we share with other companies like Aira, for example. And we allow these developers to bring the headset to their platform. And so in the case of Aira, Aira is a software that allows you to access remote visual assistance. So I can take my smartphone and I can call an agent, and the agent will see what my camera sees. And I for example, will be like, okay, is it safe to cross the road? And the agent will say, turn your camera right. Yes, okay, it looks safe, go for it. But it still requires you to hold your smartphone. And so that's why they are very happy to work with us to bring the headset experience to Aira, so you can put the phone in your pocket and still be interacting with the agent. And so Aira is just an example, but the potential of ARx is to truly become the interface to a smartphone. So there's no need to interact with a keyboard anymore, or no need to interact with a screen. Everything is spatialized with audio. And here is a demo of the pilot we did with Aira. And so
the videos about ARx headset, and this time we're going to have a quick look at steam detection.
No, sorry, that's the wrong video. But I will. Well, I should be able to show you another time. And this is really important to have this hands-free access to those services, because in the field of work, we saw that employers are excited to employ people with vision loss, and they are excited to fund access to this software that can enhance their productivity. But again, traditionally, those apps require the user to hold the smartphone, and so they lose one hand in their work. And so with the headset, employees can use both their hands and still benefit from these services. So it's kind of having the power of AI into your ear as a superpower, and still be able to use both your hands. And so we've learned that for the blind and visually impaired community, ARx is a way to access employment and retain it. And when it comes to employers, they see ARx as a relief and a productivity gain. ARx is also compatible with a range of devices, and earlier this year we launched on the BlindShare Classic 2 platform. So our ambition is to be platform agnostic and be compatible with as many devices as possible. Today we are available on Android, BlindShare, and in the future we want to be available on iPhones and other devices. We are constantly looking at the future, and actually we do a lot of R&D, and a lot of our work is sometimes launched as experiments, and sometimes we close the experiments to productize them better and relaunch again. And earlier, back at the end of 2022, we did a pilot where we used OpenAI, which is the company that created ChatGPT, to enable individuals to ask questions about the document instead of having to listen to the whole thing. So traditionally, with typical document readers, you, for example, go to the restaurant and you want to know if there are desserts on the menu. So you scan the document and you have to listen to the starters, the mains, the drinks, and then you can finally hear about the desserts. And by that time, you're already confused and you don't know what you want anymore. And so for the first time, we created a tool that enables you to scan the document, get a quick, short summary about the document, something like, okay, this looks like a menu with the following categories. And then you can say, is there tiramisu on the menu? And how much is it? And then you get that information specifically. And so I actually have a little video of the experiment in action.
How much is a latte?
A latte is £3.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So this video just demonstrated someone going into a cafe using the ARxQ app to scan a document and then asking a question about the document. And it works with recipes, it works with energy bills, and we've measured that on average it's 300 times faster to use this question-based access to information rather than the traditional screen reading way of doing things. We've also done experiments with art in the same way. So we always thought, traditionally you go to a museum and in these museums, you can have audio guides, but they require you to follow a certain order in the exhibition or to scan a QR code. And again, this is, to some people, this is still a barrier. So we've created an algorithm that can detect artworks. And when you scan an artwork, our AI is able to provide information about the art through question and answering. And so this is an example in our lab. It's not in the gallery yet because it is still in prototyping stage, but you'll see that it works. It's quite impressive.
This looks like an artwork.
Tell me more about this artwork.
Blue Flutter 3 inches was painted by Daru Young-hyun Kim. The painting integrates the two aspects of her aesthetic and sensibility into one composition, merging East and West, the traditional and the contemporary, to signify a traversing across time and space.
Who designed it?
Blue Flutter 3 was painted by Daru Young-hyun Kim.
What is important about this artwork?
Daru Young-hyun Kim is an important artist who integrates the two aspects of her aesthetic and sensibility into one composition, merging East and West, the traditional and the contemporary.
So obviously this experiment is happening on a smartphone, but you have to imagine that all this technology is available on the headset as well. And this is a specific example about art, but what's really important about this concept is that it is making art more accessible, and it has the potential to make the world in general more accessible without the need to have any kind of physical intervention, which means that museums can suddenly become more accessible without them having to modify the infrastructure. And this applies to museums, but also to hospitals and any kind of venues. So the potential here is really to make the world more accessible for everyone. Recently, so last year we had reviews in the iNews Ophthalmology magazine, and David Hayder, who's an ophthalmologist at the NHS, reviewed the ARx and compared it with OrCam and the Envision glasses. And the result was that ARx compared very well with Envision and OrCam, but the navigation between modes, so the user interface, was superior on the ARx. And that was more than a year ago. So we have gone much farther since that time. And this is a few examples of our users in the UK and in Australia. So for example, Damien McMorrow said that his wife, I'm just going to read for him. My wife and I are really happy with the product. The text accuracy has so far been excellent, and I found that it really does an excellent job in scene detection mode, much better than a couple of other wearables. It is extremely comfortable to wear, and I found it really easy to learn to use. The way that text, person, and object detection work together in scene detection mode is fantastic. And I think this is really rewarding for our team, but it's also the result of the tight collaboration that we have been able to establish with the community, because obviously we are not, as developers, we are not the end users, so we constantly have to learn from the community. And so we're really grateful for everyone that's been involved with us in this journey. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation, but I would be very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you.
Charles. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you want to stop sharing your screen, please? And then, thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, Charles, it's Tim from Site Advice. Thank you very much. That's excellent. Thank you. Tim from Site Advice South Lakes. Look, two quick questions. I didn't pick up on. Does the device pick up from the internet or the phone signal when it's like linking to the apps? Is it linking via the phone?
So the way it works is that when the phone is connected to Wi-Fi or has access to 5G or 4G networks, we sometimes use the cloud because the cloud gives you access to very powerful AI models. But we're conscious that the product needs to work whenever there's no network available. And actually, in countries like the UK, we have data most of the times, but in the US, for example, data is very expensive, so not everyone has access to it. And so our app is designed to work offline when there's no network.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, that's crucial. That's what I thought. That's excellent. And the other one, I don't know if Pierre, you're here today, aren't you?
He's here.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to say to Pierre, but Pierre, a few weeks ago, asked us about going to museums and art galleries, strangely enough, and we're trying to come up with solutions. And it looks like you've produced one there. I wondered if Pierre wanted to comment on that, but the way that it interacts with the chatbots was quite remarkable. And we work in the tourist industry here a lot. We work in the Lake District where I am. I'm thinking how if we had organisations and they had 2 or 3 of these devices, how they could actually go around these areas and galleries, etc., etc. That would work really well, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you bring that up. It's really the ambition of the prototype I demonstrated is to make any venue accessible. So you're right, if you have a few of those headsets in a venue, an art gallery or a museum, it would work out of the box without the need to, place QR codes or anything. And I think this is really helpful or really meaningful because it means that the reality of people with visual impairment can evolve into something where art becomes an option. The ability to appreciate an artwork becomes available. But it also, I think, can add value even to individuals who are sighted, just because having a tour guide is not always something that's accessible, and so this technology and experience has the potential to expand everybody's knowledge and imagination and understanding about art.
Thank you.
Can I ask a couple of questions? Sorry, it's Pierre on the phone.
Yes, Pierre.
Yeah, can I just ask, this not really suited, it sounds good, everything sounds, interesting to me, but my kind of questions are just my day-to-day life. I'm completely blind for the last 6 years, but I had 2 things which I thought might interest me. One is, in the future, will it, like, if I'm going for like a local walk in my area on my own, would I also be able to, let's say if it was working with my phone, I mean, I have an iPhone, but if it was on iPhone or what, if I had an Android, could I, when I'm not really using the AI features or GPS features or, you know, anything like that, could I play music through it while I'm wandering around and not needing assistance? And the other question was something I kind of, in terms of short text, I thought it might be quite interesting. Sometimes I find myself either, if I'm looking at a computer screen and it's not accessible, it would be nice if I could just, it would read what's under my mouse pointer, and similarly a mode where it might read what my finger was pointing at if I was pointing at a particular ingredient on a tin or something, you know. And that was it.
Thank you, Pierre. These are two great questions. So the first one, yes, you can use the headset to listen to music or anything else you want to do. I sometimes actually do Zoom calls with the headset because there's a microphone. And so, you know, it's like a headset plus the camera and the AI capabilities. And for your second question, we actually started working on a finger pointer. So the short text mode will read your screen. It's actually quite impressive that it is always, when we do development, all developers say that the headset is basically reading the code on the screen, which is quite interesting. But for now, it doesn't read your mouse pointer, but it's really interesting to hear that this would be needed, and it's perfectly doable. So, you know, please feel free to get in touch at contact@ARxVision if you have more suggestions, but we'll definitely be updating the community about the ability to point at text and read it, because that's something we're working on.
Hi, it's Anthony Horner from Site Airedale. I'm just wondering, does the app require the headset, or can you use the app on its own?
So for now, the app requires the headset, but we've been thinking about opening some of the app features to everyone. So this might come in a few months.
Charles, is Juji here? Are you okay to talk about price?
Absolutely. So our retail price is £999, and this includes the headset plus a lifetime access to the app license. And we're exploring reducing the price of the headset to about half that. But we will introduce premium app features for those who, you know, into a subscription model, which basically makes the headset more accessible to a wider audience, and enables us to create more variety of features for the app. And I know that, you know, £999 is still an important purchase, but it's important to remember that the next alternative is twice that amount. So we're really trying to get as low as possible, because the ambition is to make accessibility that's accessible to all financially and in terms of usability.
Yeah, but if you have access to for lifetime to the app, I don't think you need to worry about the £999. I think that's great, you know, because sometimes it's more and then you have to pay monthly, like £20. So I think your price is really good. Can I ask about languages? Is there any languages? What languages do you have it currently? Is it only in English or?
So the way it works is that the app detects the language of your smartphone. So if your smartphone is in French or Spanish, or even in, it also detects accent. So if, let's say, if it's in French Canadian, it will adjust to that specific accent. So it could be, sorry.
That's still there. You're
Someone
on.
connected my laptop to Bluetooth speaker. Sorry about that. So yes, it basically has every language is built in. I don't know exactly what's the number, but it's ready for that.
Great.
Hi, it's Vicky here from Sutton. Hi, Charles. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you, Vicky.
Oh, good. Yeah, the thing that's interested me most about this is that it's not a pair of glasses, because I wear glasses albeit with a fairly low prescription, but I can't see. I've got no central vision, so I can't see any detail. And I've been toying with the idea of all these sort of glasses that are coming out, like Vision and Orcan and all that stuff. So what really interests me about this is that it's not a pair of wearables. So it's not a pair of glass wearables. It's another set. Is it? Presumably, it can work around a user wearing a pair of glasses.
Yes, you can wear glasses plus the headset together.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm loving this idea of the AI stuff a lot, because I do go to museums a lot and I go to audio described tours, but obviously they don't have time to cover the whole exhibition. So to be able to go and interact with that headset, and you're also using buttons. I think you said buttons rather than swiping gestures, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So the headset has 3 tactile buttons on the right side. And one is square, and it's generally to stop anything that's happening. One is circle, it's generally to say yes to something, to a question, or to activate the microphone. And triangle, which is basically used for the next thing. So there are 3 core interaction concepts. And in terms of, but if you were in a gallery, basically the way it works is that the AI detects an artwork, and then you can ask a question about that artwork or just let it go.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Any news when it might come to iPhone?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Because a lot of the blind
iPhones
do use iPhone for reasons that we all know about, particularly those with the least vision. It works the best.
Absolutely. That's a really good question, one that I get asked all the time. So the reality is it is not as straightforward to make an accessory for iPhone, just because, you know, Apple is known for the specificities of its own ecosystem.
Yeah.
But we are aware that there is huge demand for the headset on iPhone devices. We are waiting actually for June 5 to see what will be the interface on the next iPhone, because if it is USB-C, then that's really good news for us, because the headset connects via USB-C. But we are working on it. I can't talk about a release date yet, but this is our ambition.
That's great. I'm quite happy to tweet about this fabulous new product, but I can't use it on my iPhone yet.
Anybody has any other
questions?
Go on,
I
Pierre.
just had a couple more. Yeah, sorry.
Let's go.
One was a really boring one, just like, how's the battery life? And 2 is, do you think there'll ever be a day where the apps on the phone get to a stage where they're so compatible that you could bypass the AI on the unit if you wanted to, and just use the camera, and then for that device, it would be a lot cheaper?
Absolutely. In terms of battery life, the beauty is that there's no battery in the headset, but that means that the headset is wired. All right, so you have to connect it via a USB-C cable to your smartphone. And I know that it can come as a disappointment the first time you hear about that, but there are a few things to consider. If there is a battery in the headset, then the headset becomes a lot heavier, and then you have to actually charge the headset every day. So this means also that because you're using Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to connect the headset wirelessly, if it was not wired, the data rate is much lower and the quality of images is much lower, which means you have less accuracy. So these are and you still have to pair it, which still, doesn't work as well as just plugging a USB-C cable into a smartphone. So there are pros and cons to having a wired versus wireless device, but we find that the benefits are much greater than the negative point of having a cable. And in terms of AI, actually all the computation and all the AI is in the smartphone. So really the headset is the eyes of the smartphone. It has only some a CPU in order to encode and process images, but all the AI happens on the phone.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tim here. Can I just summarize how the product works then? So I think, tell me if I'm wrong, please. It can work. It obviously accesses your phone, which charges the headset. It can work off 4G, 5G, and Wi-Fi. But the big thing is it's accessing other apps that already exist. That's correct, isn't it? So,
that's correct.
So your technology has somehow found a way of communicating to other apps. So if that's correct, then.
Exactly. And I just want to clarify that actually we are still working with these other apps like IRA in order to bring the apps to the platform, but as today, only the ARx app is compatible with the headset. But we hope that in the future, all these apps will be available with the headset, and we are basically working on some of those launches with our developer partners.
So you could use Be My Eyes and use the camera in the ARx headset too.
Yes, so that's a possibility. We are trying to work with Be My Eyes to make that happen.
And maybe let's say 4 or 5 years time hence, it's possible you could have a navigation app within that. Would that be something you would look into? And we obviously have ideas which one we would like in there, but would a navigation app be something you would maybe connect to? Like we're thinking Soundscape. I know other people are thinking that now. Soundscape, which is off the market next month,
yes.
which a lot of people here believe is the best navigation app. Would that be something you, as a business, might look at?
Yes, absolutely. So
that
we are working on navigation because we have the ability to spatialize audio and to detect obstacles on the way. We are definitely working on a mode that will actually do everything at the same time. So it will be able to detect. Actually, our AI is nowadays able to understand context. So it's able to tell if you're inside your house trying to read a book, or if you are walking in the streets and trying to get to your destination. And based on that information that it's able to understand intuitively, we trigger specific user experiences. So if we know that you're going to the train station, we'll start reading street names and door numbers, and detect obstacles, as well as providing guidance to your destination. So that will definitely be coming to the platform.
That's great.
If you had a vivid imagination of like AI, it's rapidly increasing month by month its capabilities. So say let's look at 5 years in the future. What do you think the navigation will be like in those times? Will you be able to wear this and it'll be able to tell you people are coming towards you, if there's cars in your way or there's an obstacle in the pavement or whatever? Like, do you think it'll get to the stage where it's very efficient at?
Absolutely. And I think we are probably a year away from that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking 4 or 5 years. You're talking 1. That's good.
To be honest, I think it's possible to do it today, and it's just a matter of, for us, it's a matter of having enough capability to develop, but we know that it's definitely possible. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of time.
I think I just wanted to mention it might be nice to have certain modes like I'm quite a creature of habit, so sometimes I might like a mode like if I'm going on a quiet walk, I would like to put it in a mode where all it does is tell me if I'm about to walk into a parked car because I'm walking like down a quiet cul-de-sac. Things like that, which are specific to activities, so we don't get overloaded. I don't get overloaded with information.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good point. You know, it's all about not overloading with information by using AI to understand the user intention. And, you know, that's something we're already able to do. And then providing the meaningful information in the right audio format at the right time, because timing is actually really crucial when you're actually having, when you're guiding someone with movement in real life. It has to be a few milliseconds of latency.
Yes, it's Vicky here. I think that's very interesting what Pierre said about navigation, because at the end of the day, what I want to know is I want to know what road I'm on, what roads are going to the left and right. Am I going in the right direction? Because often I have to just set off and let the thing adapt. And then I realise because the yards are going up rather than down, that I'm going completely the wrong direction. And things like shops, but equally not, you know, having the choice of having a lot of detail or less detail. So actually, that's a really interesting concept that Pierre's just arranged, because that's all I want to know. I just want to know where I am and am I going in the right direction? And then the map can actually show me the route and guide me as well, you know.
Thank you. That's really helpful to know. And I hope you will connect on our website or to our mailing list so that, you know, with our whole team would be so glad if you could share all these ideas directly with us.
I'd love to try it out.
I noticed you had, we know Steve Nutt in one of your videos. Where do you purchase this from? Obviously yourself. Steve Nutt, I know he has that in his repertoire. So who else would sell this, Charles, other than yourselves and Steve? Anybody else?
Yeah, so we were working with Sight and Sounds for this.
Sight and Sound, yeah.
But we will have some big news very soon about distribution. And currently, you cannot purchase the headset anymore. But we hope that it's only a matter of weeks before we can be back on the market. We're just collaborating with a new global distributor to make the headset more widely available and at a more affordable pricing.
Oh, interesting.
Well, where are you based at? Where's your team of developers and things based?
We're based in London.
London. Okay.
Even better.
We're a UK-based team.
Yeah, the pricing, by the way, I don't think is a major problem, I'll be honest with you, Charles, because this particular sector, as we all know, just an ordinary sort of electronic video magnifier, you're looking at £400 or £500, and all cams and other things are much more expensive, reading machines. So I wouldn't worry too much about your pricing and getting it. You know, it's nice to go down, but if that's going to stop development, I'd be more interested in the development than like £50 cheaper. So that is, you know, I think the pricing is excellent. So there you go.
Yeah, and personally, I prefer almost a one-off payment for the headset. I really like the idea that it's lighter because it doesn't have the battery, so the wired bit doesn't bother me at all.
And then also, Vicky, you have the upgrade and everything for free for life, so you don't have to pay a monthly subscription.
Exactly. I'm always a bit loath when because there was one that we had on last year sometime, which was a free app, and then suddenly it became £2.90. Next time I looked, it was £12.99, and the gadget itself £600, and you're like, really, you know? So yeah, I mean, again, it's down to choice, isn't it? You know, pay more but get the app for free for life, or pay less maybe, but have the subscription model. I don't know. It's really all about choice, which is, and that goes back to the navigation thing. It's just having
well,
that
and
level.
it's like, you know, one price, but you get everything. Whatever this product can provide you with, you will get it. You don't have to choose whether that you can afford, you know, only to read this or only to read that or do this. It's just so much easier when you know, like, I don't know, just buy one product and then you can use all the functions, whatever the function is going to be ever.
Yeah, and as I say, it's also because it's a wearable. It's not a pair of glasses for those of us who still wear glasses to help us a little bit with certain functions. You know, it's nice to have that, not having to change glasses all the time and all that sort of stuff, and permanently have something on the side of your glasses. So I really like it from that point of view. I think it's very exciting.
Thanks, Charles, for coming to see us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I think we like the product.
It's been great.
Anthony, are you okay to stop the video?
I don't know if I can, and I didn't start
Oh, the team started. Yeah, you were
No, I can stop it. No, stop
yeah,
it
does
now.
anybody, just quickly before we go, does anybody have any, like, a last question to Charles?
I think it's the potential. I mean, I had a lady yesterday. I was demonstrating the ArxApp read to her, and she actually said, "Can I ask it things?" And I say to it, "Is there a phone number on here?" And I was saying, unfortunately, there's nothing like that available in the house. Now there is. So it's brilliant. I think and that's what people want to be able to do. They want to be able to say to a letter, when is this hospital appointment? Oh, it's on the 10th of June. Where do I need to go to?
Yeah. Or if you're doing your filing, you can say, like, is this my bank statement or is this my electricity bill? And you know, you suddenly are able to file your own household paperwork in whichever way you want. It's just, and I like the when you go to a museum or something, you don't have to listen to everything. You can just actually say, what is this?
Yeah.
And then if you're interested, you listen to it. If not, you move on.
Well, again, that comes down to choice again, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just being able to just have that level of, do you want just a little bit or do you want more? But I can with asking a menu, you know, asking a menu, and there is something else out there that I've seen recently, another wearable that is now doing that, I believe. I can't remember which one it is. You know, so you can say, what are the starters or what are the vegetarian options, and it will pick that up. And I think that's an incredible move forward.
Yeah. I mean, why would you?
The whole lot, which
the whole
is
menu.
It's so tiring for us people who can't read any text or have no vision at all, just to have to listen to everything all the time, because then you miss the crucial bit, but you have to go back and listen to the whole thing again to pick up on that bit. It's so tiring, you know. So having this AI, I think, is going to be revolutionary in a lot of ways.
One thing that's come in the news recently, which is something that was talked about before, with the finger pointing, was I think in the next version of iOS on Apple iPhones, is that they're going to do a finger point where you can point to like a button on a washing machine or a microwave, and it'll actually just tell you what that specific button does. So that might be something.
Yes, I think that was coming to Magnifier. I think.
Yes.
The Magnifier app. Yeah, so that's another exciting thing. But again,
and also with the screen readers, they just don't work. So you can have a database that isn't accessible, let's say with JAWS. So would it not be nice if you can just have something and then you look at a screen and it, you know, this other thing tells you what's on the screen rather than reading the whole screen? I have so many people in employment who are struggling to access databases and prints and various things, because, you know, if you don't read your database to be able to read by JAWS, is not going to be they're not able to use it. So you can just literally read a screen like a fully sighted person does. Look at it and it reads it out what is on your screen. I mean, that's going to change millions of, you know, working age blind and partially sighted people's life.
Yes, I'm one of
because with a database, you generally, when you generally look at a database, you're just wanting one bit of information, such as what's the customer reference number, or what's the when did they join, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, folks. I'm going to
That
stop
was
the recording
great.
now. There's some really good chat at the end, so I'm going to stop the recording now. So thank you very much, Charles. Recording
Thank
has
you,
stopped.
Charles.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very interesting.
Thanks everyone for
Live well and future vision. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. The Live Well events take place on the second Thursday of each month at 10 AM. Future vision sessions take place on the fourth Thursday of each month at 10 AM and are technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. To attend the next session or to suggest future topics, please contact your local sight society who will be able to provide you with the Zoom link.